I'm back. Did you miss me? Okay, I am going to try to accomplish tags, and maybe the little photo mat that goes on the front of here. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to work around this piece, you know, like to mat the top and the bottom. That's an adventure that may not happen on this video, but it'll happen. So I'm going to try and do the photo mat that'll fit inside here, the paper on these, and the tags that fit in these pockets. These two pockets and this pocket here. Hope you can see that. Of course my light keeps adjusting because it's just goofy. We're just going to have to deal with it until I can afford to buy a new camera. So there's that. Set that aside for a little bit. I'm using just standard cardstock to make the tags and the photo mats. What you want to do first is get out your handy dandy ruler. I just use a plain old school ruler. You're going to measure the pocket minus about 1/4 inch top to bottom, and about, give or take, a 1/2 inch side to side. That'll give you a little bit of wiggle room so you don't have to struggle to get the tags in and out of the pocket. So let me find a pencil. With a point would be good. Pencil sharpener? No, of course not, because that'd be too easy. Alright, we'll work with a bell pencil. I don't care. Okay, if I lose 1/4 inch off of both sides, that is 3 3/4 wide. I usually just draw arrows side to side or up and down so I know, you know, width and height. And we are gonna say 5 3/8 tall. Now, if you remember correctly, I said before that I wanted to just trim just a smidge off the inside of the pockets to make those fit. That way, when you open this, see it goes right up to the edge. That way, if you have like a little divot, or I could even just do a notch, which I might do, that will make it easier to pull the tag in and out of the... Why is everything gonna fall down? That'll make it easier to pull the tag in and out of here without so much struggle. Again, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to cover around these little circle things. How I'm going to put the pattern paper on around them anyway. I'm going to, but I just got to figure out how. Alright, so first off, we want to make the tags for those. That'll be the big tag, number 1. Then we have the tag that goes into this pocket back here, into these big pockets here. Those will be pretty much the same measurements. So it's big tag 1 and 2. And then you need a smaller tag to go into this pocket here. It's going to be more or less the same height, which is 5 3/8, but the width is going to be different because the pocket is smaller. And that would be, we will say 3.5 for measurement's sake. So 3.5 wide by 5 3/8 tall. Okay, and that will be the small pocket. Now, that tag can be any size within these constraints, within from here to here and here to here. So you can make them smaller, you can make them skinnier, you can make them look like regular tags. I do have a couple of pieces of lighter paper that I might use for that purpose, just to make a secondary tag to go in there. Okay, so these big tags, we need 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And then the littler ones, we just need 3. The reason why we need 12 of the other ones is because there's 2 in these pockets, 1 in each of them, plus 1 for each of the each page. So each envelope, and then each big pocket. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay? So I'm not just making up numbers randomly out of my head. Alright, so I'll set all of this bologna aside. And I'm going to use the scraps to cover those. Actually, we'll keep that there on the keyboard. And we'll keep the black cardstock scraps handy, but off to the side. This, we'll just get it right out of the way. I just have both legs on that tripod. Skills, I say. Alright, now, I'm going to start with a full piece of cardstock, because I'm sure I'll use it either way. And we are going to cut at 5 3/8. Actually, I'm going to cut them at 5 1/2. That way I can get 4 out of one sheet of paper. Because it's 11 inches long, so 5 1/2 would be 4. At any rate. 3 3/4 wide. We need 12 of these. You can either do 3 full-size sheets of paper, or you can do, cut from your scraps, which is what I'm going to do for part of this at least. So there's 4, just from one sheet of paper. Then we pull out these, see how big they are? 6 3/4. And it is 8 1/2 still, right? 8 1/2, yeah. So we can get 2 out of here. That would be 5 3/8. Excuse me. 5 3/8. 3 3/4. So these ones are going to be just a smidgen longer. The oh no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't believe what I did. Alright. I just cut these to 5 by 3 1/2, or 3 3/4. So what I'm going to do to make like I meant it, I'm going to cut them down to 3 1/2 to match the smaller pockets. Alright, so we'll set these aside over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 by 3 1/2. And we are going to need 1 more of those. Oops. This one is 2 3/4. Set that aside for now. That's my scrap piece that I was showing you how to make an envelope. Alright. Back to full pieces then. That's okay. That makes life a lot easier. Alright. Cut it in half. And it is in half this way. I apologize. 5 1/2. Double checking that time. 3 3/4. Oops. Oh. 3 3/4. Come on. There. Same here. 3 3/4. And 3 3/4. So now we have 8 of these. Get those out of the way if I can. Get rid of all these itty bitty pieces. And cut the last one of the bigger cards. 5.5. 5 3 3/4. 3 3/4. 3 3/4 and 3 3/4. So now we have 12 of those, and we need one more of the smaller size, so I'm just going to cut it the same as the other two, the accidentally smaller ones. And they were, I'm not sure how in frame I am here, 3.5 by 5. Yeah, 3.5 by 5. So, get up the last sheet of paper here. I think I pulled out exactly enough paper. And I'm going to cut it at 3.5 and cut that down to 5. Excuse me. Okay, so get rid of those. Move these. Now, you have to decide if you want rounded corners, if you want, you know, like Ripley corners or the tag corners or whatever suits you. I think that this is a travel album, we might go with just simply rounded corners and the tag corners, just to keep it keep a continuity in the thing. And ugh. Jesus. You need to empty your little choppers out every now and again, or that happens. Excuse me, I caught a cold apparently. I work around sick people all day long. I work at a health food store, so I work around sick people all day long, and like I said in the previous video, they love to share their colds with me. Just don't know. Now, I'm going to just show you real quick what the corners look like on these. It's one of these scrap pieces of paper. Let me just do out. Alright, this is the ticket stub. It's called Deco, I think? Nope, it's just called stub. Deco gives you a little bit different corner than that. Let's move it here. Deco gives you that corner. And then I have the option of Clouds. That one's called? Nope, that one's called Scallop. I apologize. And then this one is called Clouds. See that one. I am going to do the bigger corner rounder, which is my standard corner rounder that I usually use is this little guy here, which is, I'm sure you can't really see that too well, but it's a pretty tight corner. It's just, you know, so it doesn't have a sharp point. This one, you have the option of a real wide corner, or closer to what the other one is. You know, just a little bit of a rounded edge so that it's not, you know, sticking out all over the place. So I think I'm going to use the larger corner rounder and the tag, which is stub, it's called right here. That one. Make sure nothing's falling out of there. Ooh, it's chilly in here today. Okay, where was I? Alright, so we'll set all that baloney aside. Then we have to decide if we want the littler cards to be just rounded or the bigger cards to be just rounded. And I think for the 6 that go in the pocket, they're going to be just rounded. I think the other 6, I'm going to have to look and see what they look like in the book, because I'm really not 100% set on that. Now the smaller ones, I'm definitely going to do the stub the stub corner, which will be, you can do literally 4 or 5 pages at once. So that's just the corner that I'm using on these. I will do that to the mat or the pattern paper before I put it on here as well. Alright, so that's it. They're just rounded corners. Okay. You can see that okay? Or I can just bring it closer, you know, like normal people do. Alright, so those make it kind of look like a ticket stub almost. That's why they call it a stub corner. From there, we've got 6 of these that are definitely rounded. Okay. I usually only do 3 at most at a time, just so that I can keep it centered good and, you know, so all the paper's lined up right. It's very easy for it to get shifted the wrong direction. And that is a 1.5 inch rounder, corner rounder. So that's just that. I want to see how that will look just in here. Let me try one of these. Let's see how I feel about that. Stick it out. I think I'm going to do this stub corner because it just looks more, I don't know, appropriate. It looks better. I like it better. Alright, so these go into this pocket. See why you need to put a notch in there? Because it's very, very hard. Once you get them in there all the way, you have to like dig for them to get them back out. No, I can't get that one back out at all. Good job, Sam. There we go. Yeah, so I'm just gonna probably like curve this edge and put a little notch in it, so they're just easier to get in and out of there. Okay, so we'll set these aside, do the other 3 of those, and then do the last 6 in the stub corner. Now that I've made a decision. Make sure we're on the right end. Okay. And now I'm going to redo that one because I didn't push it down all the way. There we go. Just neaten it up. That's all. Okay, so there's 6 of those. Set those aside and we'll do these. These are We Are Memory Keepers corner chompers, and they have a couple other ones that I don't have. They have one that makes just a notched edge like a top of a tag. They have one that does, that one also does, I think, a page corner or something, or a picture corner or something like that. And then they have another, a yellow one too, which I don't know. The one that does the picture corner is orange, I believe. And they have the yellow one, which I don't remember what that one does exactly. A couple of notches maybe for pictures. I don't know, it's been a while since I've seen that one. Of course, they change the colors of the handles all the time, so for all I know, it could just be this green one. Okay, stub corner. On these, again, you only want to do like 3 at a time. It's just too much for the thing to handle otherwise. Actually, it probably could handle more than that, but it's too much for me to handle. Now, the reason why the reason why I bought the corner rounder when I already had one is because that one does the 2 different sizes, and this only does that one size. So I may just give away my old trusty here that I've had forever. I don't really think I need to have 2 that do the same thing. That just kind of is redundant. So that's all 6 of those. Let me empty this puppy out. Get out of there. They don't always like to come out very easily. There's always one got to get stuck in there. And there's totally one stuck in there too. And I'm just going to leave it. It'll fall out when it wants to. The cat thinks those are confetti and must play with those, so yeah. Okay, so from here, let's deal with the pockets that don't fit very well. Alright. Now this, I don't want to put my hand over that because it's very bright. This is a Recollections, and it is a 1.5 inch, just a circle. The circle on it is silver, so I'm covering it so it doesn't blind you. It has on the side, maybe you can see that, maybe you can't, I don't know. It's got a little arrow here and an arrow here, so you know where the center of the punch is, again, so that you can just do a notch. It's got it on both sides, so that you can just find the center very easily and do a notch. Now, conveniently, these little eyelets on here have actually left a dent on the envelope, so I know right where the center of the envelope is, too. It also has a arrow on the front, so you know where the center is on the front. So just stick it in there, scoot it down to the arrows, make sure you line them up good, just punch it, like that. There you go, you got a little half moon. Now these things, you can actually save these to make pull tabs, for maybe for the tags that are going to go in the pockets. Like I said before, if it's something you don't use by the end of the project, just get rid of it. Be done with it. I'm going to leave the tags up so I know which ones I did already. Not tags, the flaps. Oh. Oy, oy. Okay. Center it on the pocket opening. Push it down to the little arrows, like that, and there you go. And the next bucket, same thing, centered on the opening, scoot it down to the arrows, excuse my head, there you go. Give me just a second. Every time I put my head down, my nose runs. Awesome. Awesome, I say. Trying not to sniffle too much on the screen here, or on the camera. Line it up. The arrows, make sure you're in the center. Easy peasy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And again. There you go. You have 6 of them, because if not, one of them's hiding in the pocket. Alright, so back to the beginning. These, I'm just going to shove them off to the side. And get some scissors. If you don't like this kind of scissors, you know, there's always these, which are great for the cutter bees, which are great for doing the little fine paperwork. I unfortunately have used mine for sticky stuff, so they're not really appropriate at the moment for anything. Kind of messed them up a little. They just need to be cleaned off, but they'll be fine. So from here, you're going to just trim just a smidgen of an angle, like that. That will help you to actually be able to get the tags out a little easier next time, you know, when you actually get them in there. I'm going to have off, or clean those off, because these are just way too big. Okay, somehow I managed to get sticky only on one side of the blade. Ouch. Be really careful cleaning these things off, they're friggin' sharp. I have cut myself multiple times trying to clean the glue off of them. But what do? I use them for glue again. Okay, much better. This is probably should have been done before I actually put these in here, but I didn't think of it. Doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to work. Now you gotta remember to do this same thing when you cut your pattern paper for these, because they're not gonna fit right if you measure from here to here on the edge. When you get in the middle, it's not gonna fit right. So you can also measure just from the middle to the bottom, you know, and just do it straight across if you want to, but I think it looks better if you actually angle it a little bit, you know, like the pages. Alright, I'm going to close them as I go so I know I already did them. Because, why not? So I'm doing maybe roughly 1/4 inch down and angling up to the corner of the envelope. And the last one. Alright. Set that aside for a minute. Clean up this little mess that I made. Okay. And there we gotta pick what kind of paper we want for the mats, the photo mats, what color paper we want for the pages. Remember there's 6-page units, but there's definitely different flaps and things, so you need kind of a color range. You don't want to just have all 1 page, though you probably could cover this thing with 3 pages. Let's see, there's this grungy looking one, which I already pulled out, so I probably will use that. There's this red grungy one, which I do like, and I am going to use inside there. General de Paris, maybe. The cameras are kind of fun, but they're very big, so I'm probably not going to use those. You know, like, you can even fit 1 camera on the page, so it's kind of hard to tell what it really is. The next 2 pages, nothing in the front. That's kind of a weird wallpaper. I will possibly use this, considering it is a travel album. Or it is supposed to be a travel album at any rate. We do need to make the pockets for the inside of the cover stuff, which I need to write myself a note about that, because I keep forgetting. Alright. Again, flowers, I have no idea what they're doing in here. They don't make any sense. They're pretty, but not for this. That thing, hideous. Makes no sense to the pattern. A map. That one's good. We'll take that one out. And of course, whatever I take out and I don't use, I can always put back in. Again, this one makes no sense. It's got like patterns and whatever for like sewing. What that has to do with traveling, I have no idea. This is called, oh, it's just Vintage Treasures. That's why it's in here. So the music's in here, the paper's in here, because they're all vintage looking. Got it. Sometimes I'm a little slow, I guess. No. 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 That's cool though. I do like them. And I do like these not playbills, city signs, you know, like postcards, sort of. Paintbrushes, not so much. Letters, not so much. Those would be nice on mixed media projects. These are kind of cool, but no, they're spy glasses. What do you call them? Magnifying glasses. And then there's this really, really rusty looking page, which is all well and good, but not for this. Alright, so I pulled out way more paper than I will possibly need for this book, I would imagine. There's like 10 sheets, I think, here. But I think like these two with the maps are pretty cool. Those will be really good for the larger parts of the pages. Maybe the flaps or something like that. Now this one, which there's two of, and this one, which there's two of, I'm going to spread these between the big photo mats and maybe the small ones if I have enough. So like these would be on the big, the postcards and letters would be on the big photo mats, and these would be on the smaller photo mats because they're smaller. Because why not, right? Actually, some of these might be perfect sized for this. Perfect height. Oh, a little too skinny. Yeah, they're a little too skinny. That's okay. We'll make it work. And then the two grungy ones, these two grungy ones will be the other sides of the flaps and the pockets and backing and all that fun stuff. So, but I'm going to start with the maps and these four, basically. So, these two maps. Ugh, really? Come on. Jesus. Alright, so those two maps, and then these two pages. I'm going to start with these 4 pages and see if I even need to cut into the other pages at all. Okie-dokie. So, we'll get started with the tags, because I can always use these weird grungy things on non-tags, other stuff. And then from there we'll get the other pockets, the other 2 pockets, and the other ephemera bits on there. I don't really have a lot of ephemera to put on there, but I have stuff for ephemera. You know, I have like, I want to make a holder for it, like I said, a key card for, you know, like the hotel. I wanted to maybe put a pen holder in there, but we'll see on that. I don't know. I don't know that somebody would actually, honest to goodness, bring this along with them on a trip, because it is, you know, 2 inches thick. It's not heavy, but it's thick. Okay, so again, our big tags are 5 3/8 by 3 3/4, which means that they would be need to be 3.5 inches wide. I guess the real question, these are upright. The little ones are upright tags, so portrait size shaped. The side ones will be landscape, and then the ones that go in the pockets will be portrait as well. Alright. Geesh, that was harder than it needed to be. So if we're doing them portrait, they will be 3 1/4 tall by 5 3/8 wide. Alright, so I have decided this is the bottom of the page, apparently. So not 5 3/8. You want to drop 1/4 off of that. So 5 1/8 tall. by 3 1/4 wide. And you need 6 of them. 3 1/4 wide. Oh, we didn't do them at 5 3/8. We only did them at 5. So that means 4 3/4. Oh, Sam. Silly girl. Alright, so 4 3/4 tall by 5 1/4 wide. Lordy. Which will then go on here like that, and it'll have 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Okay? So I need 6 of these total. And I think 3 each. Yep. Here. 2 and 3. Now we need the next sides. I am going to, because we're already at 22 minutes and we haven't done hardly anything, I am going to probably fast forward through parts of these cutting processes. It's not necessary for everybody to see. It's one of those things. Alright, so 4 1/4, or 4 3/4. By 3 1/4. So the big ones are 5 and they are actually 5 3/8 tall. The mats that are going into the big pockets are 5 3/8 tall by 3 3/4 wide. Nope, other way around. 3 3/4 tall by 5 3/8 wide. 8 3/4 tall by quadruple. It's 3 3/4. It's 3 1/2. If you drop off the 1/4 inch. Okay, so 3 1/2 inches tall. Lordy. By 5 1/8 wide. There's one. There's 2. Whoa. And I think on the back side we're just going to do the lighter of the 2 map colors. And being that it's a map, it doesn't matter which direction it goes. Well, in this case, it doesn't matter which direction it goes. It's kind of very faint, as you can see here. So, I am going to cut it at 5 and 1/8 and 1/8. squeak out as many as we can out of this one here, so it's going to be 3.5. And 3.5. The only reason why this has enough room to do that cut is because it has this, you know, the top piece that normally would be perforated and you just tear it off, it's just got a dotted line on there, and it's a map, so it actually, the dotted line kind of makes a little bit of sense there. It's like looking for treasure. Anyway, is it going to make a difference? Yes, I'm going to get a whole extra piece out of that, I think. 5 1/8. 5 1/8. Yep, so I got a whole extra square by cutting it like that. Thank you for being a map. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I have one extra for, you know, in case of emergencies. Probably for the one of the backs of the other sized ones. Alright, so rinse and repeat. And again, it would be 3.5 by 5 1/8. There's 6 pieces, so we need 12 of them. And keeping with the other one. We'll cut at 3 1/2. And these we have to keep the same direction because they are directional. Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright. Now, we've got one extra already for the other side. Super handy. So we need to cut 5 of the same map, or we can cut a different map and hold that piece for something else. That's totally an option as well. I am going to start at this end. Now remember we did 1 at 5 and 2 at 3 1/2. 1 at 5 and 1/8 and 2 at 3 1/2 anyway. So 1 at 5 and 1/8 and 2 at 3 1/2. Okay. Now around that hole. 3.5. I think I might just center that hole. 3.5 and 3.5 would be 1.25. Or I could just skip it and leave it like this for something else, because we're not going to need it even. Anyway, what am I doing? Silly girl. Alright. 5 1/8. And only one of these needs to be cut at 5 1/8. The other one can stay long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We already have 6. Alright, so 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. Alright, set that aside for now. Okay, I'm gonna end the video here actually, because we're at 38 minutes, I think. When we come back, I will have these all adhered down, antiqued, corners notched, all of that stuff done, and we'll be ready to go for whatever the next part of the trick is here. We'll see you then. Thanks.